being honest, 50% of your colleagues don't care about you. Like, they give zero flips about you. So do not ever overestimate your importance in a company. Hi my lovelies, good afternoon, good evening. Once again, another video. If you're new here, welcome to our family. For everyone that watches our videos, likes them, shares them, comments, engages, we appreciate you. The real MVP. I mean, without you, this channel wouldn't exist. Today, I would like us to talk about navigating office relationships, navigating workplace relationships. Is it possible to be best friends with your colleagues, with your workmates? Actually, if you ask me, the title of this video is calling your workmates family is a big fat lie. But again, this is social empowerment, so we're going to look at both perspectives, and I'll be interested in your experiences and what you think, your opinions about this topic. Personally, I believe that, like people who tend to say, oh, we're family, or you're among colleagues, and oh, we're family here, or your boss saying we're family here, is a total lie. First of all, family is not replaceable, okay? But as a worker, as an employee, you are replaceable. So already that disqualifies you from being family. The moment you fall sick, if you pass on, if you're not performing, you are going to be replaced. That has nothing to do with family. Looking at the professional perspective, that is also trying to sell you something that is actually not true, calling you family, but then you're going to be evaluated depending on your performance, depending on your behavior, depending on your team, competence, depending on what you bring to the table, and no one is going to say, oh, let's keep her because, again, we are family here. And it's also important to keep in mind, personally, I believe it's very, very important to keep boundaries in the workspace. And this issue of trying to act like your old family, like your old besties, like your old buddies, can create a blur, like not knowing where do we stop as colleagues and where do we start as friends. And I'm not saying you cannot be friends per se in the workplace. You can be friends, but it can only work if you know how to keep the boundaries, if you know how to navigate the waters, if you know how to separate work from private life. Personally, I believe if you're friends with a colleague, you should be able to know that at the workplace, in the office, at the company, wherever you work, you are just colleagues, and keep it formal. And then when you meet in your private life, become the besties that you are or want to be. Because I feel people who like to, erase all boundaries and be colleagues and buddies at the same time can affect the workplace dynamic, especially for people that are not buddies or friends with you. And two, I strongly believe in being professional, in creating these spaces, in creating these boundaries, and making sure at work we just work, because it can also affect the, the critic culture. Imagine your boss is your best friend, and one Monday morning she comes and says, I'm not pleased with the way you handle this situation. If you're not someone who knows how to separate the two, then you're going to be probably very shocked and disappointed. You're going to be like, but she's my buddy, how can she talk to me like that? But again, you have to keep in mind, at the workplace, you're there to work and be productive and, bring services and results. So it will not save you being best friends with the boss. And that is something that you really, really want to keep in mind. Plus, my perspective is, depending on what your age is, at my age, I feel this is not the age where I start to look for best friends. Can I be friends with my colleagues? Yes. But my first priority at my workplace is making sure that I'm productive, that I'm doing the job that I was hired to do, that I'm being of service, and not to try and be best friends with my colleagues. Should it happen and we get a good relationship and we get along perfectly together and become friends, well and good, but I'm not someone that is open to that, because again, it can create bloodlines. For me, I'm more interested in creating good relationships with your colleagues, creating a good atmosphere, and that brings us to the team. Be a good team, and that can only function if you're keeping the professional and the private life separate, so things never get personal. Every time you talk to each other, it's more of a formal, respectful atmosphere, and not here, one time you're my boss, one time you're my colleague, another time you're my best friend. Like, it's too much. I don't know what you think. Curious to know what you think in the comments and your experiences. Of course, I'm here to learn, we're here to empower each other, but that's what I would advise you to do. Try to keep it professional and try to separate the two from each other. Or we'll take another example, like, is it okay, for example, to invite your colleagues to your home? Because I mean, if you're going to be buddies, you're going to act as best friends, then you should be able to visit me at home. Again, dangerous waters, dangerous terrain. You have to be sure this person is really your friend, because again, in the workplace, there's lots of fake friendships, fake alliances, you know. And especially here in Germany, you find everyone smiling with you and acting like they like you, but when they actually don't like you, or they're going to talk behind your back. So you have to think twice. Do I want to invite these people to my home? Do I want them to come into my most holy personal space? Like me, a mom, for me, my home is holy. I don't let anyone come to my home just for just, you know. You must be someone special, someone important and deserving. So that is something you have to balance. I've never done that, and I don't think it's gonna be happening in the near future unless a miracle happens and I really become besties with a colleague, which I don't think. But if I want to, like, maybe socially interact with my colleagues, maybe we can meet somewhere for, you know, like a barbecue or whatever, but I wouldn't feel comfortable having my colleagues in my personal space, you know. So if you invite your boss to your personal space and maybe you're messy and you're chaotic and maybe even end up losing your job, I've had such stories, or everyone starts judging you and talking about you, then it's your fault. You can do it, but think twice about it before you do that. If you're being honest, 50% of your colleagues don't care about you. Like, they give zero flips about you. So do not ever overestimate your importance in a company, in a workspace. Even when your boss is like, oh, we're family here. Like I started the video, you are replaceable and family is never replaceable. So that should always be like a wake-up call for you to make sure you navigate the waters properly, to make sure you balance these lines and they don't get blurred and lost in each other. And make sure that whatever you do at the workplace, your health comes first, your happiness comes first, and of course have a respectful, you know, relationship with your colleagues. Create a good atmosphere, treat others the way you'd want to be treated, but don't go into the workspace trying so hard to find best friends. It might happen, it could happen and might turn out to be a good thing, but it shouldn't be your utmost priority. And I feel as a boss also, you shouldn't try to, you know, force your workforce, your employees to have this very familiar relationship with each other. I feel boundaries should be respected. If there are colleagues that like each other and they like to have even a closer relationship with each other, they can have that. But as a boss, try and kind of force that on people. I don't find that very professional. I feel it is counterproductive because, again, you have to keep in mind with different personalities, depending on how big the company is. Everyone has their own boundaries. Everyone has things that are negotiables for them and non-negotiables, and all these boundaries have to be respected. And that's what makes even a working atmosphere special, because you have different dynamics of people who are learning from each other, who are benefiting from each other in all their differences. And I feel that is something that someone has to respect and uphold in a company. So my lovelies, floor is open to you. Again, this is a social empowerment channel. I always initiate the conversations and we have a chat in the comment section. What is your experience? Is your best friend maybe your colleague? Or what are your thoughts about that? Do you think, like I do, that saying we are family, we are besties in the workplace is total bollocks, or is it possible? Or what is your experience? I would really like to know that. And of course, if you've loved this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you're new here. And most of all, give us other topics that you'd like us to address, you'd like us to talk about. And if you'd want to be a part of this channel, have a story to share, have a chat with us, you can DM me on Instagram, Ruzhoff, and we can go live here together, or I'll meet you and interview you if it's possible. My lovelies, thank you so much for being here, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'm here to inspire, uplift, and empower you.